Hi everyone, it's Kelly from Kellie's Bead Boutique. So today I'm going to show you how to make one of my all-time favorite wrap bracelets. We're going to take a little bit of leather and some chain and a few little embellishments and come up with a really unique wrap bracelet. So come and join me and see how much fun this is. Okay, so today I've got some 2mm leather and I have approximately 2 meters of that. And I have about 7 inches of a large Rolo chain. I have a really lovely button. I have a couple large hole beads. And I have a tube if we want to make some barrel knots. And I've got a pair of scissors for trimming the leather. And a pair of cutters if I need to trim my chain. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is run our leather right through our button, and you want to bring it down to the halfway point. Okay, so now I have that down at the halfway point. So now if you don't know how to do a barrel knot or don't want to do one, you can just simply do an overhand knot by wrapping around and pulling that through and then just tightening that up. But you know, I always like to use barrel knots. So the way that I do that is I place a little tube in between, and I'm going to take the end of that and I'm going to wrap it around once, twice, 3 times, and I'm always making sure that I'm working towards my left hand. And I'm going to take the end of this and put it through the tube, and you're going to see that it's going to pop out the end of that tube. So I'm always holding on to that little knot to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. I just think that the barrel knots are a nice way of finishing things off. Okay, so now what I want to do, if I want to move that up, is I'm going to push with the opposite one. So I'm going to get that into place with the one that I wasn't wrapping with. Once I have it to where I want, and I want to leave about a 1/4 inch gap or so, I'm then going to pull that nice and tight. So there we have our first little knot. Okay, so now I'm going to take my chain and I'm going to run one end through one side of the chain, and then I'm going to take the other side of the leather going the opposite direction. So see, I've just got them both going through the same length, they're just going opposite directions. And I'm just going to pull. Okay, so when we want that to be not right jammed up inside there, we want that to be at about a 1/8 of an inch or so, maybe 1/4 inch away. Okay, so now you can see that I've got my first little pass through my chain there. So now I'm going to take this one here. Now if you turn this is the way that I find that works the best. If I turn it ever so slightly, you can see that this leather is on the top and this leather is on the bottom. So the way that I always remember how to put this is that the top goes up from the bottom. So I'm going to take this top piece of leather and bring it up from the bottom. Now I'm going to take this bottom leather and go down through the top. And then I take it and I turn it. And now if I rotate this, you can see that this left one is on the top and this right one is on the bottom. So bottom goes through the top, and top goes through the bottom. I'll do it one more time to show you. Okay, so what I do is I take it and I just pivot it slightly, and I can see that this one is on the top and this one is on the bottom. So the top goes up from the bottom, and the one that's on the bottom goes down through the top. And there you can see that we're creating our nice little pattern. And I don't want to pull too tight, but I do want to pull taut enough to make sure that it's all nicely woven. So I'm going to carry on and then I'll come back and show you when I've finished. Okay, so now you can see that I've got a nice little pattern going here, and I'm just going to repeat until I'm finished. But one of the things that I wanted to mention is that you have to remember to turn it in between each one. Sometimes people forget, and that's when your pattern is going to go a little bit wonky. So we want to make sure that we go from the bottom down through the top. Pull it taut and then turn it so that you're looking through your O. And I want to show right here, you'll know pretty fast if you've made a mistake. I wasn't paying attention while I was doing this. And you can see in the pattern, we have one that goes across and the one that comes on an angle. One that goes across and the one comes on an angle. All of a sudden I have this one coming straight down here. So that tells me right away that I've made a mistake. So all I'm going to do is back my leather out and pay a little bit more attention. So now you can see that I've got my bracelet all completed and I've got all nice sort of tight weaves in there. And you can see I've got one link left here. So we want to make sure that we are ending on a sort of a vertical link, not one of these O links that we're looking down through. So all I'm going to do is take my cutters and cut through that and just remove that. All right, so now I'm going to do another barrel knot because I'm just going to make my little closure. So I'm going to place it in between and take the one farthest away from me and go around once, twice, 3 times. Hold on to those little wraps and take your end and put it through the back side of the tube and keep holding on to it. Now remove the tube. And then we're going to push it down into place using the opposite one that we didn't wrap with, which is this one here. Get it right where we want it. And then we're going to tighten that up. And I do pull on it fairly tight. This is going to be our clasp, so this is going to take the most punishment. Now I'm going to take my button and just sort of give it a dry fit. And I need to make sure that my buttonhole is about that big. So I'm going to take my tube again and wrap around once, twice, 3 times. Take the end, place it through the tube. Now people have asked me if you can do this with 3mm leather. It doesn't work as well. So 2mm leather is about as high up as I go. Okay, so now before I pull it really tight, I'm just going to make sure that that fits nicely. You don't want to put too much stress on that leather because it can weaken it. Okay, pull that tight. You see I'm placing my thumbs, or my finger, my thumb, right where I want that to tighten up to. So right there. Now I'm going to take one of my large hole beads, place that on, and you can do a simple overhand knot, or you can do a tiny little barrel knot. So I just go around once or twice, go through the back end, and I'm going to push that down, and that just kind of gives it a nice little finish. And then trim that off. And if you wanted to, you could put a little dab of GS Hypo glue in there just to make sure that it's going to stay on there. So this is just a single barrel knot, so you just wrap it around once and twice. We're not using 2 pieces of leather, but it's the same concept. Go through the back end. I always have to hold on to it. It's hard for you guys to see, but I want to make sure I'm not going to lose that knot. Okay, and push that up to where I want it. And then we're going to pull it to tighten. A little trim. And there we have it. So that's our chain lash bracelet. So I'll make sure to leave a list of everything that I used in the comments below. Please make sure if you enjoyed my video to leave me a like, leave me a comment if you'd like to leave me some suggestions or tips, and please make sure to subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much for watching.